Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Ever J Music, owner of Beat Making Basics, where we teach producers and composers how to make beats in GarageBand and Logic Pro 10 the easy way. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to chop up samples in Logic Pro 10 and be able to play them back and also save them as your own individual custom kits.
Beat Making Basics.
First thing you want to do when you want to chop up some samples is go ahead and create an audio track. If you don't already have this section pulled up, you just go ahead and click on the plus sign, create an audio track. Pretty simple. Next thing you want to do is create a software instrument track, and you want to pull up the EXS24 sampler. If you don't have it set up like this, you would just go to instrument under this when you click on software instrument and go all the way down to EXS24 sampler and click on stereo. All right. This is the EXS24 sampler. This is what we're going to be using to play our samples. All right. Right now, there's nothing in it. I'm just using a little MIDI keyboard to play. But I'm going to show you how to chop up a sample real quick. So check this out. There's several different places online that you can get samples. You can get samples from stuff that you can go out in the field and actually record samples yourself. But I'm going to recommend that you use something called Splice.com. Okay. Splice.com is a very good resource for producers, composers, anything like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, this is my Splice account. Splice is pretty cheap. I mean, it's pretty much like the cost of like a Chick-fil-A meal once a month. You know what I'm saying? You can get access to, I think it's about 100 different samples that you get per month, and then you can pay more to get more. But basically, you want to go ahead and search for some type of a melody or a drum kit or whatever. We're gonna go ahead and chop up a melody though. You know what I mean? So an easy way to do this, instead of going to the different kits, is just to go here to this area. As you can see, there's about over 600,000 different drums that you can have options to. Over 460,000 synths, you know what I mean? And you can click on more and get access to all these different categories of instruments and sounds and loops that other producers and composers have created. Man, make sure you get that Splice, man. It's a dope tool to use. But we'll go over here to melody. Okay, we're gonna go to melody, and we're gonna let these all pull up here. As you can see, when you see these check marks here, that means I already downloaded these. But I'm gonna try to find something that's new, something that I haven't used before. So I'll just click on, like, say, page 3, and to see if there are a bunch of stuff that I haven't heard. So let me just see what they got working here. That's pretty cool, but I'm looking for something more sampler based. Let's go to Wonder Girl. Let's see what she has going. Pretty sick, man. This is another cool thing about Splice. Like, say if you hear something that really catches your ear, instead of like keep on going through all of these different samples, you can actually click here, and she has a whole sample pack that you can go through. So that's actually what we're gonna do with this one, and we'll pick a couple of Wonder Girl samples and we'll chop those up real quick. So I'm click there. This is her whole pack, and actually you can go over here to her whole pack and catch all of the different things that she has in here: one shots, melodies, rolls, and whatever. So just to make this simple, I'm just going to click on melody, and we'll get all 27 melodies that she offers, and I'll pick one of those there. This one was pretty dope. I'm gonna try to pick one I actually haven't used already or accessed already. Let's see. This one was pretty dope. I'm going to go ahead and grab this one. I'm going to see about grabbing another one here. All right, cool. So this one, I think we have some good chops we can do in this one, actually. So now that we have our samples, I'm just going to go ahead and go down here to the Splice app that's on my dock. Click on that. And as you can see, those samples I just selected are right here at the top. All right, so we're going to work with this one. And all I'm going to do is drag it right over here to the audio track. All right, boom. Let's import the tempo. All right, cool. So as you can see that we have the different wave fluctuations in the track. The first way you could do this is, which is the hard way, you can just take this playhead and come to each section and then splice it up or slice it up like that, right? So yeah, you got a lot of stuff you can do with this. All right, so that's one way you could do it, is just like auditioning it by moving the playhead. But I like the way where you're actually going to click on this tool right here, or this option right here. This is called the flex option, okay, which basically you can time stretch it and do a lot of cool things. I'm going to keep it simple though. Let me see here. We're just going to click on this and then come over here to the actual track and then click on it right there. And then what you can see is, if you zoom in, is it already has some places where you can go ahead and mark it, you know what I mean? And you can, if you want to, just go into the very middle. You see how you see these three little guys right there? If you click, say, like right there on one of these markers, you'll also click each marker on the left or the right of it. So let's just click like right here. Boom, boom. So that's one way you could do it, and you could just quickly chop up everything. Just come in here and do like this, and it'll give you a lot of different chops. But what I want to do personally is kind of find where I want to chop out everything. Let's see here. So like, I want to grab this little part right here. So what I would do is, instead of clicking on it in the middle, I would just come up a little bit, and then I can actually put a marker at the beginning of the sample that I want, and then at the end. Okay. And if for whatever reason you ever mess up and place it somewhere you don't want to, like say right there, you always can go over here at the top. I'm just going to move it up a little bit and then click off of it, and it's, you know, you can reset your marker. But that's one sample I want to get right here. I want to, of course, get the very beginning, which we'll already get there. Let's kind of listen to it. So I want to get this part too. So that's another dope sample. So I put a marker right there and a marker right there. And pretty much you can kind of see how easy it is to just grab everything that you want just by listening to it and putting a marker before, or at the very beginning of the sample and at the very end of it. Cool. So I got what I want. I'm just going to go ahead and now chop these samples up. Now, a quick way to do this would be to right click on the sample and then scroll down here to slice at flex markers. These are your flex markers that we just created. We'll slice it right there. Boom. All right. So since we know that each time you see a marker, it's either going to be before the sample or at the end of the sample, I can come over here and actually push T to get to my pointer tool on my keyboard, and I'm going to delete that sample right there. So let's just see here, and I have 4 samples I'm going to use. That's going to be one. This is going to be another. All right, and then we have this one, and then we got this one. All right, so what you want to do now is just highlight it and then go over here to your different tools and go down to your fade tool. Another hotkey so you can do it easier is just push T on your keyboard, and you can go down to it that way, or you can just push T and then A. But anyway, what you're going to want to do is, and by the way, if you see me like coming in and out like this and zooming in and out, if you hold down Option on your keyboard and just use your trackpad, that you move your finger left or right or up or down on your trackpad or on your mouse, it's going to allow you to zoom in and do all that. Okay. That's just so you know, that's how I'm doing it. So anyway, what we're going to do is go ahead and highlight all of these by holding down Shift and clicking on each one. And then what I want to do is, just so that the sample sounds smooth, I'm going to go ahead and fade it in at the beginning. And this is how I do my fades at the beginning. I go ahead and push up like that, so it kind of has this like little curve. It comes in smooth. And then at the end, I push down so that it, it surely does cut that sample off, but not abruptly. So now let's listen to it. I'm just going to push T in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these samples so you can really hear that it sounds pretty smooth. All right, cool. So once you got your samples chopped all up, you figured out what you want. What you're going to do now is highlight them and then right click again and go to export. And then what you're going to want to do is export as audio files. And what I usually always do is I go ahead and I save these onto my computer, somewhere safe that I know I can always access them. And I do this for 2 reasons. The first reason, because, it's always good to have a backup copy of those samples. And I can also come back in and I can chop those samples up again even further. And so I don't have to always go to Splice. I can just go straight to where I have on the computer and chop these samples up again. So that's why I do them. And two, so like say if something happens where your file gets corrupted or whatever, or your project, somehow the MIDI notes gets lost or whatever, or the samples get disconnected from the MIDI notes, you can always go back onto your computer and find the samples that you created and, get them hooked back up. Okay. But also, so what we're going to do now is we'll create a new folder somewhere on your computer that I have mine in the main folder under drum kits and some plugins. And I'm just going to say Wonder Girl. All right. And now I can come over here and put those samples in here. Now you can come over here and add custom right here before region name. That's what I did basically. I'll just delete that so you can see the process. And you can pretty much put this little tag right here before the actual sample. It just helps with organizing things. You don't have to do that. It's optional. I always make sure that I normalize my tracks at overload protection only. And I also make sure that the bit depth is 24 bits. Okay. Make sure it's a wave, and we'll just go ahead and click there, and it's going to make a copy of the samples. At this point, you could pretty much delete this. And now we're working with our EXS24 sampler. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, pull that up. We'll go to edit. And then this is the fun part where actually we'll, create our own kit with this. So there's going to be 2 ways to create a kit here. You could either have one continuous sound that will go through all of the different octaves, and, any note you play, it will play it in that key. Or you can put each individual sample on each individual note. So I'm gonna show you how to do both of those in this portion of the tutorial. So what I'll do is I'll go to Finder, and I'll go to where my sample chops are, and I'll drag them in. This is going to be where I can put them on any note on the keyboard. So right here, I wouldn't worry too much about the zone width, especially since these are just chops. I would just go ahead and put the start note anywhere you want. You can put it on C1 on the keyboard. You can put it an octave higher, C2, octave higher than that, C3. But I just go ahead and put it on C1. Make sure it's continuous zones is selected. And now, if you go over here to C1, you have all your samples. All right, cool. So one thing I would just suggest, like when you're putting them in this way, I would not one shot them. I would go ahead and deselect one shot. And the reason why is going to give you more control over the sample. So basically one shot, like when it's not selected, you can, as long as you hold down the note, that's how long the sample is going to play. If you had one shot selected, it's going to play it. Like if you just tap it, it's going to play the whole sample. You see what I'm saying? So I just put it on, I take one shot off. And so you can do little cool stuff like that. All right, cool. You can also do some cool stuff by reversing it. It might have like a different effect. All right, you can do that. But for the most part, you're going to want to deselect or select these different options right here. You can come in here and mess with these, but I'm just going to kind of shy away from telling you to mess with those. You're just going to want to manipulate either pitch, one shot, or reverse. Okay. Now let's talk about saving the sample and being able to access it again. Basically what you would do is go over here to instrument and then go down to save as and just give it a name. So I'll just say Wonder Chops 01 and then click on save. All right, so now if I go ahead and let's say create another software instrument track, this is a new session, let's just pretend, and you go to EXS24 sampler, right? You create it. Now if you go to edit and instrument and open, you can scroll through and find that sample pack you just made, Wonder Chops 01. So I'll open that up. Voila. Right? So that's something cool that you can do. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you how to do, right, is how to chop up the sample, or actually how to make a kit a different way, right? I'll go ahead and go to edit here. And at this time, instead of bringing in all 4 samples, I'm just going to bring in 1. And what this is going to do is basically play this same sample throughout each of the keyboards, or each of the notes on the keyboard. Now, a cool tip that you want to keep in mind is you want to make sure that pitch is always selected, because if pitch is not selected, you're going to, the same way that you played the melody sample, original melody sample is going to be played that same way. So no matter what you play on here, it's going to be playing that. So make sure you have pitch selected. And then, of course, your same process. Just go ahead and go to instrument and save as. You can give it a name. I'll say Wonder Chop 02. And now anytime I want to play that, I can just pull it up. I'm just going to delete this so we can do it from scratch. Software instrument track, EXS24 sampler, stereo, and voila, we can pull it up. instrument option. There's Wonder Chop 2. So, we can come in here and create for days just off of that one sample, man. You can come in here and create as many sample packs as you want. I mean, I can come in here and do the same thing I did with this sample now. I can do it with that one. I can do it with all of the different samples I want. And it just makes it, your production go to the next level, really, by doing this. If you all have any questions or anything like that, please leave them in the comment section. I really appreciate you watching this video, especially all the way to the end. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. I'm coming with back-to-back videos like this each and every day if I can. And man, thanks for watching. We're out.